I get so much gosh dang spam that like I'll have 200 emails by the end of the day, no matter how
Oh, wow.
consistent I am with with clearing them.
Unsubscribing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like and unsubscribing, doing whatever. Like I will have 200 emails in an hour just from random freaking things that like
Wow.
I either forgot I
Mhm.
signed up for, or they're just like random bots that like found
Okay.
my email. So yeah, for me, I hate email simply because my work email is the one that I get notifications for because that's the most important. And then for like my Gmail or Yahoo or any other thing, I have those notifications muted because otherwise my phone would consistently be going off. I got like five emails in the last minute I was talking.
Dr. Ruth, I'm reaching out to you and I'm saying, hey, have you heard from Jillian?
Yeah. And now I'm wondering, did you reach out to Jillian via email? Because I always text Jillian and I hear from her.
Well, we can only do email because she's not on WhatsApp. So that's what I'm kind of subject
Okay.
to. And if I text her, I think we both get charged for it. But I do text
Okay.
her if she doesn't respond. So
Okay.
there's
And I
that.
Yeah.
do reply.
Yeah. Jillian will reply to a text. Yeah.
Right away.
It may take me
Sometimes,
a couple it may take me like a day or two, but like sometimes because my like I work graveyards now, sometimes I'm asleep when I get that text. So if it's a couple
yeah.
hours, most likely I'm snoozing.
Yeah. I give her 24 hours because I don't know. We're a little bit of a time change, but like I give you 24 hours. Isn't that generous of me? Um
Very generous. Thank you.
before I panic. Um So Lisa, yes, you did. I remember you did ask that, and I had not. I don't think I had tried to get a hold of Jillian. But then when you hadn't heard from her, then I think I started texting her. And if I recall, I hadn't heard from her, but it wasn't a real long period of time. And then I eventually did hear from her, because she does text back. And just recently, Lisa, you and I were talking, and uh, I was looking back to see when I had last heard from Jillian. It seemed like a really long time. And as I was saying it, I'm like, yeah, it was Christmas. Like that was a really long time ago. That was only 2 weeks ago. So, it feels different than it is a
Mhm.
lot of times.
Okay. My recollection, and again, yeah, memory's the first to go. My recollection of that whole experience from the time that she announced on the last round table, which was October 19th, till the time that I reached out to her, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. But Ruth, I think this was email, and I was kind of stirring you guys up, and I was like, have we heard from her? Do we know anything? Do you think she's coming back to the round table? Do you think she's done? Do you think I was instigating this little conversation that I remember, and then I remember you, Ruth, saying, "Well, I don't know that I have heard from her." And so then I think we started really micro focusing on
Yeah.
how much time was going by that we were or were not hearing from her.
Yeah.
So, from our timeline discussion, what we discovered about ourselves is that we filled in a lot of blank space with lunacy, with craziness, with our own stories. Okay. And Jillian just said we get into our own minds about stuff, and that's the most dangerous place for us to be. Now I'm reunited with my daughter again, and that's been fantastic. But I'm going to also bring it back to what's been going on with us in relationship to this topic and what we're talking about. So if you're listening, please take this to heart. There's dead space right now with your kids. I know a lot of dead space, but we cannot fill it in with our worst fears. We cannot. We have to be open to what the reality is of the situation. And if you don't know, then all you know is your kids went no contact, and there's quiet now. There's silence. There's stuff going on in their heads or their lives. We don't know what. More than likely, they're just busy and they are not thinking about their parents. And we've had a lot of conversations about this over the past year. So we've learned a lot from you guys. But here's the timeline of what actually really happened with Jillian. And when we were coming onto this call, I was going to start with her and say, okay, young lady, what have you got to say for yourself? Because you have not been getting back to us. Same with Aaliyah. And then when I did this, I had to reel myself back in and realize that I had to start with Cher and Dr. Ruth. So October 19th was the last roundtable. You said, I need a couple months to focus on my career. 2 weeks went by. That was it. 2 weeks went by. And I reached out to you, and because last time we all had a call with the last holiday last year. You were having a hard time. You just moved to Denver. You didn't have any friends, and we got on the phone. So I reached out to you, and basically I said, I'm concerned about you with the upcoming holidays. Of course, it's only November 4th. Okay, it's November 4th. Thanksgiving wasn't until the very end of the month this year. And I even said, listen, if you want to leave the round table for good, there's nothing warranted this. I
was so like confused, to be honest.
And when you got this email, so I'm going to, just remind you of this email. I want to honestly know, I can handle it, what was going through your mind when you got this email. So I said, listen, if you want to leave the round table for good, that's fine. I want you to know it's okay, but I still want a relationship with you. I know you're busy and you have a lot on your plate, but just give me a shout out and let me know that life is going okay. Okay, so you get this email and your thoughts are what? 2 weeks later.
So when I got this email, I believe I was just still in the stressed out haze of like learning dispatch and like being on the floor and like, you're always wondering about like, are you going to get that shooting call? Are you going to have like somebody whose life is completely altered by whatever call's dropping in your ear? So I believe I'd just gotten off of work and I looked at that and I was walking to my car. And if I'm being completely forthcoming and completely honest, I was like, what the fuck? And then I just put my phone in my pocket and I was like, I'm going to deal with that when I get home. And I drove home. Because I was like, did I ever say, like, I was racking my brain on the way home, like, did I ever say that I was gonna like leave? Like, did I show disinterest in being here? Like, I know that I'm taking a couple months off, but that's because quite literally it's in the middle of my workday. Like, I can't be there. So for me, it was just like, I felt like I was racking my brain, being like, did I offend them? Like, did I make it seem like I don't want to be here? Like, so I think it was a focus of like, first of all, what? And then second of all, like, did I do something? So I think I went into like kind of triage mode of like, okay, how can I fix this?
Okay, well, it's interesting because you responded back 8 days later.
Okay, yeah, and when I did go to sleep and kind of forgot.
When I tell you how long it takes for my daughter to respond, 8 days is nothing. So 8 days later, you respond. And what I heard, because we hear your edge on this sometimes, we hear your frustration. We hear that we got you out of bed a little bit too early on a Saturday morning. We hear that in your voice, okay? When I opened this email from you 8 days later, I heard are you kidding me? What the hell, lady? Why are you sending me this email? But it's not the tone of the email at all. Here's some things that you said. It's just been a stressful time dealing with Patty's health decline and stuff like that. I still want to be part of it. Unfortunately, work for the next month won't allow me to do it. You gave me an update on your guy. I appreciate that. Career is good. Love what you're doing. Love that. Health is good, except I got this massive cold right now. Currently stranded in San Diego because there's a massive snowstorm in Denver. Taking a break from my phone too. Okay, how did I get all of what I was filling in with that, which this was so innocent?
I think it's something that we do, right? It's like, it's so easy to like, when you don't hear from someone, I'm like, nope, Jillian's mad at me or my sister's mad at me or something. That's like what I first lean towards. I did something to piss them off. But in reality, we don't, like, that's what's going on in our world, in our mind, but there's so much on the other side.